damn good coffee and hot.
Hmm. Yes. Now you can remove that dumbass card. Good morning, folks. It's Friday, end of the week. You made it. And it's Friday, August 12th, 2022. And I don't say this often. I think this will be a very interesting show. I'm going to wait until a little bit later to share some news with you on the Christine Levine situation. Do want to talk about last night. Jess is back, and a comedian, Nina Simone, will be with us at 10 a.m. supposedly. But this has been a week of massive cancellations. Now with Nima, I'm not exactly sure where she was, where she's from. It looks like Nebraska. I don't. We'll find out. Anyway, she should be with us at 10 a.m. supposedly. Now, I make no guarantees on that, but it will be an interesting show regardless. I promise you that. And I don't promise that too often. We'll start talking about the Trump shit. But please stick with me because I do want to talk about um, Christine a little later in the show when some people who might be able to pitch in are with us. So yesterday, probably some of you are aware, Merrick Garland came out with a statement. Now, it really bothers me when, because obviously with all the cancellations I've had, the statement was scheduled for 2:30 in the afternoon yesterday, and it didn't happen until 3 p.m. Eastern time. Now, it wasn't a long statement, and you have to wonder, what's the point in making people wait like that? If you're gonna come out at 3 o'clock, say 3 o'clock. Don't tell people 2:30. Have people wasting their time sitting around waiting for this big announcement, which was not a really big announcement. The announcement was basically that he had filed the motion to unseal the search warrant and make it public because of the public interest in it. And he wasn't going to allow people to just trash the FBI. That was it. Done. Out of there. Kind of frustrating for me because I expected him to say an indictment was imminent, something like that. A little bright in here. Let me see if I can dim this. But he did not say that. Anyway, I had a gig to get to, and I got to a gig, and I got home late last night, and I noticed a couple of tweets that were talking about how Republicans are going to be embarrassed, and all of a sudden they're not chirping so much after the big news. And then I saw people saying, "Well, he had uh, nuclear secrets in his safe, and he was going to sell them to the Saudis." What? So it turns out I did a little minimal digging, and Washington Post had come out with a story that said, in fact, that one of the things the FBI were looking for were nuclear secrets, classified documents that had nuclear secrets on it. Now, that would be top secret, not just classified. That would be top secret. I can tell you for a fact that I have driven printing plates that were made to create documents for nuclear weapons, top secret, top secret manuals for only for people with top secret clearance. And I had to drive those printing plates to be destroyed after the documents were created. And I was surrounded with FBI guards the whole time, taking those plates to be destroyed. Very, even, and that was 40 years ago. So even then, high level of security around nuclear documents, nuclear secrets, top secret documents of any kind. Um, so for if the story is true, and this is where it becomes problematic for me. If the story is true, there is no reason that Trump should still be allowed to go home. He should be in a jail cell right now, which means, I think, for me, the story is probably not true because Garland did say no one is above the law. Well, I can tell you that if you, me, and I can tell you this for a fact, if you or I had top secret nuclear uh, information in our possession and the FBI found out about it, we would not be allowed to go home. We would be in jail. Donald Trump is allowed to go home. That means either he is above the law, which I don't think Merrick Garland is really taking that attitude, position, or the story is false. I tend to think the story is false. I think and people were talking about maybe the DOJ leaked that. Why would the DOJ leak that? It doesn't serve the public interest, especially when they've already filed for release of the warrant. So who leaked it? Who told the Washington Post about this? Well, probably John Barron, aka Donald Trump, in some fashion, some pseudonym, got in touch with the Washington Post and said that this is what they were claiming. Now, it would make a lot of sense as far as the $2 billion in cash that got deposited in Jared Kushner's investment account recently, and all the Saudi backing at Trump golf courses and him really taking the side of the Saudis. Now, let's remember, I think 18 of the 19 alleged suicide bombers from 9/11 were Saudis. Osama bin Laden was Saudi. The Saudis are not our friends, no matter what the government tells you, because we are reliant on their oil. They are not our friends. They are the biggest exporter of terrorism and anti-American terrorism in the world. That's important. So if it is true, Donald Trump is selling nuclear secrets to Saudi Arabia and he's not in jail, why not? I mean, why would you let him? He, first of all, it's a flight risk. He's absolutely a flight risk. He can go anywhere in the world right now, disappear, and never have to face extradition. He could go to Saudi Arabia, which actually probably suits him pretty well because you know how they treat women over there. Men are, especially men who have means, have a different life over there. So I don't think it's true. It would be shocking. Would be really shocking. Now, the funny thing is, so many of these Republicans are being awfully quiet about this, and they were talking about, the defense of Trump, that the FBI probably planted stuff and blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden they're really quiet about it. Now, um, very few of them are still chirping this morning, and it's the ones you can expect, the really stupid ones. Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, those are the people. Mitch McConnell has been quiet. Why? Because Mitch is a savvy old politician, and he realizes the jig is up. Now, I'm very doubtful that the story in the Washington Post is true. It might be. if it turns out to be true, a lot of those people who were completely in Trump's corner are going to really, really look awful. What you have is treason of the highest uh, measure. You can't get any more treasonous than selling the world's top exporter of terrorism, anti-American terrorism, nuclear secrets. You don't want a nuclear armed Saudi Arabia. This is the case. So that's where we're at today. Now, it was a little tough for me to even kind of swallow the news because coming home from a gig, when I'm on a gig, I'm basically off the grid. I don't know anything that's going on, and I left, and all I had was this dopey statement from Garland that nobody's against the law and we're gonna unseal a document. Well, that's fine. When it happens, let me know. And that was it. And then I come home, and wow, like, wait a minute, is this real? Is this like some kind of made for TV movie? We'll see. This stuff, if it's true, if the story is true that there were nuclear. Now, here's the important thing I think people are missing. The story says nuclear documents, nuclear secrets are what the FBI was looking for. It didn't say they found them. Although, generally, when you execute a search warrant like that, you don't leave until you find what you came for, especially because there is such a high degree of probable cause that the stuff is there in order to get the warrant, that they're not going to leave quickly. And apparently the raid didn't take days, it took hours at most. You don't leave until you find them. But the Washington Post story is not saying they found them, it's saying that's what they were looking for. That's a possibility. It's a possibility in my mind. But the fact that he's still walking free casts a lot of doubt on whether that story is true. We'll see, though. If it is true, I would think by the end of today, a major shoe is going to drop in that case. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not claiming to be an expert in this thing. I am an expert, or an expert, not an expert. I have enough experience driving nuclear secrets around to places they needed to get, top secret facilities and people who had top secret clearance, to know what that's really all about. I also have some experience with being raided by the FBI or having a search warrant executed upon my house. So I have some qualifications to know some things about these things, but I'm not, and you folks know this, I'm no expert in political affairs or anything like that. I'm a follower just like most of you. But there are certain things that just don't add up. And the biggest one is, why is he still walking free? We'll see if he is at the end of today, though. Uh, so, yeah. Yeah. Kevin says he had top secret clearance too, and he'd be buried under prison. We had done 1/10 of that. Well, that's the point. Now, you certainly would not have been allowed to go home while waiting for an indictment. And that's the point I'm making. Like, Trump is still living comfortably in Mar-a-Lago after these documents were searched for. Now that means either they weren't really searched for, and the Washington Post thing is totally off, or they were searched for and not found, which would really make the DOJ kind of look silly. I don't know. We'll find out. I think we'll find out today. I think we'll find out by the end of business East Coast time, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern time today. So we'll hear about that now. And we can continue to talk about that as the show progresses and when Jess gets in here, and maybe even when Nima arrives. Well, I'm going to read one more comment from Kevin before I move on. Trump never went through the process we all do for clearance because it wouldn't go through. They just grant access to POTUS. No, and that's true And as POTUS, he has the right to declassify stuff anytime he wants. But, to declassify, if he just declassified top secret nuclear information, even his own party would question that. Like, why? Why? But again, yeah, Ted makes a good point. It could be documents about other countries. That's true, but he still would be locked up if they found them. There's no question. They would not let you go home after finding that. And the $2 billion is how we didn't know what the $2 billion was for anyway. $2 billion in cash got deposited in Jared Kushner's personal investment account. $2 billion in cash, greenbacks, deposited in his account for nothing, no stated transaction whatsoever. And this is recently. And then you have all the stuff with the Saudis sponsoring the golf tournaments and all that stuff. It definitely looks like there is something to the story, but again, he wouldn't be walking free. Anyway, I'm going to move on for that. We'll come back to it as the show progresses, I guess, when Jess gets here or maybe when Nima comes in. Christine Levine, as you know, thanks to Kevin, who alerted me a couple of days ago, Christine Levine is battling stomach cancer. And I reached out to her, again, thanks to Kevin, suggesting it to see if she would be open to us doing something, us meaning me, maybe Carl, maybe Jamie, maybe people from the community, pitching in, volunteering, helping out in some way, similar to the Potathon. And somewhere in the middle of the night, she sent me a direct message back answering that. And the bottom line of a very, very, she wrote a book. But the bottom line is, yes, she would like some help. She needs some help. So I'm going to be putting this out there and calling for volunteers to help out. My instinct, if I could do it, would to be get on this right away and do something this Sunday, the 14th. But I think that's rushing things, and I wouldn't be able to organize it in time. So I'm looking at Saturday or Sunday, the 20th and 21st. I might have a gig on the 20th, which is why I'm thinking the 21st. And I'm thinking like a mini Ponathon, like a 12-hour. And there's no reason we really need to do 40 hours, to be honest with you. We did 40 hours last time. There's no reason. We can raise the same amount with urgency in a shorter period of time. But so I'm gonna organize something and get some people on board. I'm gonna need some help with the administrative stuff and people who want to appear, reaching out to guests who've been on the program for the last year and a half, 2 years maybe, to come on and pitch in. Of course, people who know Christine and love her, we're going to ask them to get involved and see if we can't increase the GoFundMe stuff. Now, I haven't talked to Carl and Jamie about it. They're supposed to have an episode of Dykes and Man today, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Mind Dog TV network. And I will talk to them. Jamie might be an issue. And I know Carl is going back to Edinburgh and he might be traveling that day. So nailing down the details is going to be a difficult thing. It's not going to happen quickly, but we'll see. I mean, I want to get this done, and I'm still, open to suggestions about dates, about exactly what to do. So I'm thinking 12-hour mini Podathon. And trying to stack it as much as I can with as much talent and as much much interesting content as we can, and keeping the eye on the ball and trying to not necessarily have this long 40-hour thing, but a fundraiser telethon of limited time, because everybody's time is pressed right now. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm going to need help. I'm going to need help from the community. And I'm going to probably reach out today to, I think her name is Kay, who organized the GoFundMe. Ask her to make sure she keeps that open while we figure out the details here. So that's going to be where we're going with that. I'm going to go back to the chat room now and see what the hell I missed here. Well, I'm going to go back. Well, last thing I saw was from Ted Nagurski, who said could it be other countries? It could be. That's possible. Sure. By law, he can't declassify nuclear stuff. I did not know that. I thought the president could declassify anything at any point. He would have faced serious resistance, but I don't know if that. It could be true. Kevin can be right about that. I don't know if that's a fact, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah, that's generally the case, isn't it? Ted Nagurski said, "Isn't there a process to declassify documents? You can't just wave his hand magically." And no, a president can just decide, uh, this is not classified anymore. Oh, poor Christine. Yeah, well, let's not have a pity party for her. I definitely want to keep positive thoughts. I do think she's going to be okay. Her GoFundMe has gone from 4K to 8K in the last couple of days. That's great. I think we can drive it to. They want 25K, but there's no reason we can't go over that. Yeah. So anyway, Carl's in the background. It looks like he all yellow. Look at him. He's going to play football or soccer, as we call it. Are you? Are you a
No,
kickball guy?
I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit down.
What happened to your mojo? Your mojo is missing.
What do you mean?
Your energy is low.
Do you want me to? Well, my last 24 hours were walking around Edinburgh, gigging, all that stuff, and then an overnight journey home. Got back at 6:30 into London.
Wow.
Walked through London, got in the door at 9, and then started my day as normal. And,
when are you going back?
25th.
Ah, excellent. You know why that's excellent? Because I need your help again.
Yeah, I caught a bit of the show.
Yeah, I want to do I'm thinking a 12-hour thing on a Sunday, the 21st. Does that sound doable to you?
It's a week Sunday. Yeah, I'm still here.
And I could start it really early so that it's not for you more so early for me. So it would be I don't know, noon or 11 a.m. for you. So it wouldn't be totally brutal on you.
Yeah.
11 to 11 your time or something.
That's good.
Yeah, so what's going on with Jamie today with Dykes and Man? Is there one? Because it's very confusing what I'm seeing on Twitter.
No, we agreed, so I did everything and did a tweet, and then I got a voice message saying it's not possible.
He's not allowed.
Well, not allowed. He'd forgotten he's got to go somewhere, and he got informed of his itinerary by her indoors. Which is fair, he just didn't. He doesn't know what he's doing, does he? So
I'm wondering if we could get him, and it's not crucial, but I mean, I would love to have him be part of this thing on if we do it on the 21st. Ted Nagurski has a question for you. Is everyone drunk 24/7 at the Fringe Festival?
No, but there's enough time in the 24 hours. I mean, I barely slept every day. I mean, I might have slept 3 hours. There's enough time to get that in. I mean, the shows we were doing were 11, and then I got on a midnight show, so we're out of there by 1, and then you go to a bar, right? Till 2. So yeah, it's not everyone, but there's enough of it. It's packed. It's summer. It's Spain. Everyone's in a good mood. It's quite celebratory this year, I think. We'll see how well everyone's doing by the end of the month when I go back. But yeah, it's also tactical because if I go back at the end of the month, I'm hoping that enough comedians will be depressed. They've had full mental breakdowns or worse, and there'll be spaces for me to fill.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, because reading your tweets, it seems like, and I would have imagined this anyway, that there's a lot of dead weight that thinks they're going to go there and become superstars, and the universe has a way of trimming that dead weight or killing their spirit pretty quickly when they find out that they're not the stand-up comedy isn't as easy as making your friends giggle when you fart.
yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of different levels, but everything I saw was good. Everybody I saw was good. Or not everyone, but no one was objectively bad that I saw. But there's going to be everything there. There's going to be people going to get their dreams crushed, essentially. But you just got to be realistic about it. And I just met new people, got last-minute invites to stuff, and already I bumped into someone on the street and we had a chat. And I'll probably get a gig out of that, and he's probably a good guy to know. So yeah, just it's just about meeting people really, and once people know who you are, you start to get stuff.
Yeah. Now, what I'm thinking is, now when you go to these people's houses and you're sleeping on their floor, you're paying for that, right? Then you don't know these people. They're strangers
Well,
who are kind of selling out
this
floor
group
space.
of people, one of them kind of knows one of my friends, Dave, a good comic, and so it's kind of, and because everything was last minute with me, and I said everywhere puts the prices up into a ridiculous way. But yeah, I'm not very much, but for a small piece of floor.
But I'm thinking this is a boom for the people who live in the town, renting out floor space to comedians. If you live there, you're a resident, and you want some extra cash.
I'm pretty sure people do. They rent out, probably the garden for a 10. I would, you can fill up a house if you like.
Yeah, it seems like a probably good thing for the community. So, and I don't know that you can oversaturate it, but I'm just thinking for communities that are a little bit economically depressed, this whole thing is a good thing for the town, obviously, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's money to be made everywhere and at every level, and there's a lot of people that don't have anything and they're just scraping by it. If they got there for a month, I mean, they could be spending so much money that they're living, on donuts every day because they're $1.
Now you don't, because you're a slacker. But are people bringing merchandise to sell?
Probably, yeah. I didn't.
We got to get you official call man gear.
Yes. So somewhere down the line, yeah. Probably, yeah. I mean, I didn't. I tend not to stick around at the end of shows, so I wouldn't have seen too much, and I kind of avoided some of the bigger ones this time. When I go back,
you would know because the guys you're sleeping on the floor with would have a box next to them of stuff that they brought with.
Well,
them.
I had the first night. I had a sick bag on my shoulder for someone that was here in case he was sick. But I just pretended to be a nice guy, and if they had been sick on me, there would have been a white tent outside and a skycopter talking about an incident.
Have you met the fabulous Jess Paul?
I don't believe so.
Meet her now. Jess, say hello to
Hi. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Welcome to the world. I'm saying that to myself.
Yeah.
You'll notice Carl talks funny. You hear how funny he talks? Carl, say something.
Don't you love when you ask someone to say something? Say something in your native tongue.
Xenophobia.
See that? Xenophobia. That's
Good word.
Say pedophile.
Actually, because
he says pedophile.
Because of how much British television I watched in college, for some reason, I only pronounce it pedophile or pedophile.
All right, you both got to get out of here. Get out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Carl has been at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland and performing comedy there, like he would be if he were working in New York City, doing several shows in different locations in one night. And I was just asking him about the experience because Ted, who was in the chat room, was curious about it.
Do you just have Carl on standby at all times?
Well, Carl he comes and goes as he pleases. He has access to the administrative part of the show.
Okay.
I could end this thing. I could come on and say the worst thing.
He did. He did end this thing.
I crashed out a whole show.
Yeah, we were in the middle of a show and he meant to leave and he hit end broadcast instead of left.
And I think you've even got to confirm that as well. I think you've got to press it twice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's a lot of power to yield over there.
Yeah, well,
Wield.
that happened because, and this is relevant to today's discussion, back when we first found out that Andy was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I decided I wanted to do something a little different. So I did a 40-hour podcast, live stream podcast, and got everybody involved with it. And Carl was a co-host, and Jamie Dykes was the other co-host. And so they were with me pretty much the entire 40 hours. Jamie kind of slept 8 hours. Carl slept an hour. I might have slept an hour or two somewhere in there, but
man, I would go crazy.
Every time it was crazy.
So our friend Christine Levine, who is a comedian, she's a comedian, actress, radio talk show host. She has now been diagnosed with stomach cancer, and I'm thinking about doing something a week from this Sunday, a 12-hour mini pot-a-thon of sorts to raise money for her.
Mini, huh?
Yeah.
12 hours.
Well,
I mean, I guess compared to 40 hours, that is quite a stretch.
Yeah, that's a mini one, and it's just a shame that in the richest country in the world we have to do this because we don't have universal health care for people, and so people who live week to week, paycheck to paycheck, can't afford to take care of themselves even after the surgery. Let's consider that possible that the medical bills will wait. The recuperation and all that kind of stuff, paying your bills while you can't work because you're recuperating, all that stuff it could end people's lives. It could make people homeless. So we have to do this kind of thing whenever our friends get sick, which is disgusting in a lot of ways that we have to do that because we're such a greedy country. We can't find a way to take care of people. So that's my soapbox.
Is this my invitation?
Yes. Of course.
So you had brought this up, I think, before, at least you were talking about more of a variety show, but what are you looking for? Are you looking for just guest hosts, or are we supposed to do a little song and dance?
Well, basically, I don't know. It was basically so loose. We had a lot of comedians come on, musicians. They would do what they want, or we would just talk. We had filmmakers, and we just talked to them. Basically, just killing time and keeping people, and just telling people about the GoFundMe constantly.
So a telethon in the new age of the internet.
Yeah. I'm Jerry Lewis. Thank you.
Oh, I really like this idea. I will 100%. I'm deciding right now. I'm 100% committing myself.
Well, I'm thinking of doing it on the weekend, on a Sunday, to make Sunday the 21st.
Let's see what we.
I would do it this weekend, but it's just not enough time to organize the thing. But yeah.
Mind Dog Telethon. I don't even need to put down a time because it will most likely be on the whole day.
You're in all.
Aluminium urinal. No, you're fucking with me now.
You're in all.
I can slip in. I quite often slip into Americanism because I speak to so many Americans. So sometimes I'll end up just,
It happens. It happens.
You have different words sometimes that mean, like, I don't want to say it. Like, there's a word for cigarettes that if we said it here, it would be hate speech.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's weird. Yeah, kind of here too as well. But it's weird. It's weird. It's a weird one.
I think Stanhope was talking about that. About there are words you can say on radio over there that you can't say here, and vice versa. But they're not the same words. It's weird. So that's got to be a tough thing when doing, stuff like what can you say in different places? It's the same language, but it's not the same language.
Just say it. If it's on radio, just say it. And if they're not bright enough to have a little dump button, it's their fault, right?
You live and you learn. Yeah. Trial by fire.
So just that commercial was absolutely adorable. Give me one of these.
Bill.com.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Bill.com. Now, Jamie, can you pop in for a second or no? Shower and then, but we'll be listening with saving.
Saving.
Saving or shaving?
think he probably means shaving.
Shaving and then having a shave.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dip out in a couple of minutes.
All right, dip out. Who
Who needs you?
Yeah, nah,
Just
not
kidding.
who
It's
needs
nice to
you.
meet
We
you,
love
Carl.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
No, the reason Carl's got to dip out, he plays for Manchester soccer club.
This is Brazil, so.
Oh, he plays for the Brazilian soccer club, so he's got to go. He's an all-star over there, so I don't know what he's doing. He just got back from Edinburgh, like in the middle of the night.
No, 6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m.
Yeah,
Look
there's
at
been
all
no
these
sleep
people
for the past
joining
few
the
days.
troops.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I don't need sleep when I'm there. I'll sleep all weekend and then go back on the 25th and not sleep again for 3 days. But it's good fun.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah. Well, next, can we make a plan for you to do? Because the Wi-Fi sucked, but I would love it if you could actually do like a live.
Well, it's actually the data signal in the city is weird. I don't know whether it's the structure of the city or there's so many people there and it was getting overwhelmed. So I was using my data, but it kept in certain parts and where I was. I guess it was just disappearing. But I can.
You could fake it by just taping something on the phone and then send me the file, and I'll play it as if it's real.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I'm not dancing again, Daddy.
So good to see William Conway's going to be on. He's already committed to it. We're already getting people. I got some people writing to me saying they'll help with the administrative stuff. That's going to be because how many people who were on the last one am I going to approach again? Because I used every.
I don't know if it went well the first time and it was a great cause. I don't see why people wouldn't want to again.
I forget the number, but I think it was over 50, and most of them were somewhat celebrities in their own right. So,
wow, cool.
Yeah, so but what, they have time, and at some point it's like, oh, you again? Like, how many favors am I going to do for you, bro?
I get that. The piece of advice that I have trouble following myself is that there's really no harm in asking,
Yeah. Well, William Conway says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There we go.
But keep in mind that I want to keep the bridges intact so that I can have these people on as guests, because they've all been great guests on my nighttime show. Some of them been on a morning show. I want to keep those bridges.
You just need enough buffer room, like time in between so that they miss you.
Yeah. Like Brendan actually went out of his way to prepare something for us, like a comedic bit. All right, Carl, say comedic.
Comedic.
Comedic. Isn't it?
I know we pronounce it
comedic. Isn't it comedic? Yeah.
In it.
Sorry.
That's
but
nice.
So people who went out, because some people feel obligated that if I'm going to be on, I got to do something special, and a week is a lot to preparation. I don't know, but I will reach out to as many as I can. I'm just trying to think how do it.
I felt bad because I got Alex Lemon. He's a really good guy. He's doing 56 hours of comedy up in Edinburgh this month, and he's a good guy. But I got him on, but he didn't know what it was, and he had prepared a load of bits as well. He does like music and DJing and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And he got all his gear set up, came on, and I think 2 other guests are coming early, and we were just chatting shit for an hour.
He didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I had Andrea Such, who is a classically trained actress and a television star and ballerina and classically trained musician, and she came on at the wrong time to see Jamie and Scott doing kind of a roast of each other, and was appalled by that. And she said,
no.
"Oh, Matt, I can't be part of this. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna have to bow out."
This was during the day of the telethon.
Yeah.
Oh,
She rescheduled. She sent me an email saying she was going to have to reschedule for an earlier time in the day. I did not have time to respond to it, so she just popped in earlier in the day and saw these guys just calling each other names and fucking.
Yeah, it was less of a roast and more of a dramatic. It was very realistic, like a reality
fake fight.
Yeah. And it happened later in the day as well. Someone popped on, and just as Jamie was, he probably had 100 beers by that point, and was said, I can't remember what it was, but it was something that I was going, we've got someone backstage. Just be a little bit careful. And I think they disappeared for a bit as well. But it's all good. It's all good.
Well, give me a little bit of inspo. Like, what were some of the more creative bits that people came up with if they weren't just sitting and chatting and drinking
Brendan
coffee?
Moss by far was the best. He did Yelp reviews. Yelp? Was it Yelp?
I think Yelp. I think old Yelp reviews that he'd written, and he just read them back to us. But it was kind of
that's hilarious. Oh, I love that.
If you heard them,
dig out the video. It's on the playlist, I think, of the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
On here. So
I'm gonna have to do my homework.
People did songs. We had quite a few. Kermit Apio did a great song. Karen Bella did musical.
Yeah, she was great because we were flagging at like hour 34.
Yeah, 39. That was 39.
Music.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my talents. I mean, I have so many. I could do something crafty. That's what I do on my live shows. So if I can think of something that's kind of interesting within my time frame,
yeah, we had Christina do snakes, snakes and
just show snakes.
Show snakes and reptiles because that's what she does, and she was giving us
That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
At that point,
that
I
would
was
be something to tune into. I would totally tune into that part. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, anything people want to do. Nobody did any except Carl, and we blew it for him. Like prepared comedy bits or like actual comedy material. But by the time he started to do it, he was saving the show, and we wouldn't let him because we were just treating it like it was still conversation. He was doing some really funny stuff, but you know what I'm talking about, Carl? You were talking about
right at the end?
your auntie.
Oh yeah. Well, not too loud because I'm quite close to the family right now. But yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah, but we really didn't let you do it great because we were interrupting you.
It's also not really built for doing on a podcast, I think, as well. It's more to throw into it.
It could be if the comedians would let you know, I'm going to use this minute to do some material.
We were up for 37 hours. I didn't even plan it. The conversation was flagging, so I just started telling a story.
Yeah.
And it's normally a bit more violent than that on stage, I think, as well. And I don't often do it. It just depends. One, do I want to upset everybody, or two, do I think this will work here?
Yeah. So what are you doing today? You got to get back to work, or it's the weekend? It's already days over.
Happy Friday, guys!
It's Friday. It's here. It's 3 p.m. I've got a little bit of admin to do, and I've got to dig out some follow-ups and stuff on some gigs for Edinburgh when I go back. So yeah, just going to fill that up. And some other shit as well. And yeah, there's lots of vague things that I can't really refer to because it involves other people. So I will let you know.
Keeping secrets, Carl.
Jamie says to drop him a link. I'm going to drop him a link. I don't know. I know you got things to do, but I'm going to have this conversation with him just to give him a moment. You don't need a link. Doesn't he have admin access as well?
Oh, he probably wants to use his phone, so he's probably shaving or in the shower, I would think.
All right. I'm sending it over on Twitter, Jamie. But so I don't know if you need to get out, you do what you want to do. I'm not telling you what to do.
I will.
Hey, listen.
I always will. I made the last night at a gig. I didn't make, but I started mocking the barmaid quite a lot, and she gave me a free beer while I was on stage, so I just drank it. I made everyone wait.
I love that.
Yeah.
I had a very weird. Again, I had 2 gigs yesterday, and coming home, the gig ended at 10 o'clock, and I got home 12:30. It's just like an insane amount of traffic. They should close down all the major roads. Here he is. He's in here. Device is not connected. Now one is connected. I guess his audio is connected. Jamie, are you there? You're spinning. You got no Wi-Fi. There he is. Whoop.
What an angle we've got as well. We've got the upload.
I was waiting to see him like under the shower stream, like talking.
He's been on the program from the shower.
Jess, nice to meet you. Nice to put a name to the face to the
nice
name.
to see you. And
wow,
meet
he
you
talks
and hear
funny
you for
too.
the
They all
first
talk
time,
funny.
we're all foreigners together. Yeah, I thought I was just about to have a shave, and I thought, you know what, let's jump on, let's do our bit for the dog, the DOGGY. Carl, how's it going, beautiful?
Do it for cancer. How you doing, Jamie? We haven't seen you since I don't know, when was it? Monday, Tuesday? I don't even know.
Hey, we lost him again. Is he pulling himself out? What's going on?
What the fuck?
You're doing this to yourself, bro. You're pulling yourself out. Anyway, you talk a little different funny than Carl. You like have different funnies.
Yeah, he comes from a field.
I come from the
He's
Shire.
Jamie's Welsh.
This is
not
an international show.
He's not English. He's Welsh.
Yeah, this is the international takeover show for the Mad Mind Dog TV. Yeah,
So
Yo, go on.
Did you hear what we were talking about doing a mini podathon on the 21st, which is a Sunday?
What it would be.
Yeah, I know. I didn't catch that part, but I sort of pulled pieces of the conversation together and figured out that's what
It's not set in stone yet, but I would do it this Sunday, but there's just not time enough to organize it. So I'm thinking Sunday the 21st is because she's going under the knife this Wednesday.
Holy
so
shit!
It's that quick, yeah.
Oh man.
Because we didn't find out about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're in. You're in. That's all I want to. If you can do it.
Any day, time. Yeah, I'll anything.
We should probably pencil it in there and wait to see what happens during surgery.
Yeah.
Why you think she might die?
I'm not saying it. No, I just said
Be optimistic, brother.
Anything
for,
you could die.
Anything for for Christine Levine, man. The same with Andris as well. So yeah, definitely in. No problem.
Not anything. I'm not doing anything. I'll do a podathon.
Well, I don't know. I've done some bad things in my day. I'll do anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you laying flat on a mattress? Is that, or there's one behind you?
Me? Oh no, this is my bed. This is my bed.
That's his stylish backboard that you're insulting right now, dog.
Yeah, that's my.
That's where he gets tied to.
Yeah, this is where the love happens, baby. This is where my kids are conceived,
Now you're turning me on. Don't do that.
It's too early in the morning for this.
Yeah.
It's just nice. No, in fact, coming back from spending 4 nights in a really shitty hotel in Edinburgh, coming home to this bed was just like a godsend. But when I woke up in the morning, just constant aches and pains.
Now, your friend Tommy wasn't offended by me saying he looked like those Superman characters, was he?
Oh, I done it. I probably didn't even show it to him because no, he would have been fine. He would have been okay.
He definitely looks like a character actor from a movie. He probably has a good door open for him to get into that. He's got a look that is, scary in a way.
And it's funny you say that because we went to watch a comedy show, right? And the comedy show was called Jew-orama. So as you can guess, it was a comedy show made up of Jews, the chosen ones. And this, it was a beautiful woman come down. Her name was Davina. She was one of the comics, and she got on stage and she said to Tommy, she said, "Look, from the back, you look like a really aggressive person." But she said, "I can tell you're a really nice guy." And he just sat there with his arms folded. He went, "You are, love."
I think he looks really aggressive from the front as well, to be fair.
Yeah, but he's a soft guy. He's not really. I mean, don't get me wrong, he can fight, but
he's physically soft. I've tied him up like a pretzel in a hotel room almost a year ago to the day.
It's a true story. I wasn't there. I'm sad I wasn't there.
It was a post-gig hotel unofficial party with cheap vodka from cups, and we wrestled.
Why has he never been on this program or of Dyson Man or Last Rites or anything?
He's not a podcast kind of guy. I discussed it with him because when I was in the Fringe, he just said I'm not a podcast kind of guy. He said he would. If he was to do something like a podcast, he said he would want a general outline of what was going to be discussed, but he's not one for just sitting down and just, rolling with the punches, outside of his comfort zone, I think. But he'd do pretty well. He can hold a conversation down well with anyone. I just don't think it's his cup of tea.
Oh. Right. Well, it wasn't your cup of tea until I broke your cherry.
You did break my cherry. You broke it in a soft, gentle way. And I have back since. It was a beautiful encounter. It was a special time in my life.
And now look at you. You're like everywhere. Except your wife won't let you do your own show today.
Yeah. Oh, Dream Crush. I completely forgot. We had prior engagements to go up the in-laws, and I was just like, yeah, I can do a podcast. We'll do a podcast, Carl. And she come home from work and she was like, oh, are we still okay for going up the in-laws? I was like, shit, I completely forgot.
Do it a little later. Do it an hour later. Come on, 50 minutes later. Do a 45-minute show, and then
we could well do. Oh, we're gonna at least. I think we're gonna do it on the weekend anyway. Yeah, Carl.
It's up to you. I said we'll try. I stuck it in for next Thursday, but we'll do it over the weekend. I'm going to go to the woods in a bit and record a solo podcast about something. I don't know. Maybe I'll just rant, or maybe that'll be the end. But,
sounds ominous.
I think, a nice walk to the woods soon would be good. It's always weird though. I don't know how much you film stuff like that, Jess. But do you ever film anything outside? But if you do like
it's always an awkward situation. But, yes.
Yeah. If someone's walking the dog and they're coming past, and I'm, do you say
I have
hi?
to say, living in Los Angeles, the heart of everybody wanting to be famous, it's not that. It kind of feels at home. Like if you see somebody filming themselves on the sidewalk.
Oh yeah, you've got like a TikTok wall somewhere, like a pink wall or something.
Oh, too many. Yeah, I've got mine. Yeah. I've got mine right there.
Yeah. I like your room. I don't mean to sound stalky, but I like your room. It's like a lot going on. It's very colorful.
Yes. We've got like flames on the back in the mirror. We've got candles. We've got red. I look like I have like a sensual like sex chamber over here, but I just really like the color red. I'm not trying to like.
No, it's a cool getup, man. It's like a Stevie Nicks sort of vibe thing going on in the background.
Oh, you're not even seeing the best of it. Like
that's a great observation. It looks like the Gypsy video Stevie Nicks did.
Oh, I have to look that up. Maybe I'll get some more inspo.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I like the getup. It's good. I like little fairy lights and shit. We got them all around the house as well. Little bits and pieces.
Yes.
We're not against some promotion here. Jess does a live stream. I think it's Wednesday night. It's one night during the week. What is it? Wednesday?
It's Monday. It's every other Monday. So catch me if you
Monday?
Can.
No,
it's Monday. All my shows ever since I was 19 years old have been on Monday because I thought that I wanted to raise everybody's spirits on the worst day of the week.
Oh. Well,
yeah,
cool.
Monday's a shit day, man.
How come it felt like midweek to me? Because I've seen probably the last 5 or 6 of them. I could have sworn it was Wednesday.
I can't tell you, man. I can't tell you.
I caught a bit of one.
That's because I have no idea what.
Really, Carl? Have you seen it too?
I was in Brazil and I caught a bit of something you were doing. I think you were sewing something and.
Yeah, the jacket thing a couple of weeks ago.
Sat on the floor. Yeah, jacket, and there was a story
That's
going
right.
on. I was in
making
Brazil
my own
in the middle of nowhere there.
Punk merch. My own DIY, like let's rep the band kind of deal.
There we go.
One thing I'll tell you, if you're a musician out there, listen up. If you want cute girls to wear your merch, make cute tank tops. I'm not wearing your completely concealing band tee that fits me like a smock. Like, come on, guys. Like, print some cute stuff.
That's good.
I have to make my own merch.
Yeah, listen up, guys. You think you're rock and roll? You ain't rock and roll until you've got cool merch for hot chicks.
Would you wear a tight tank top with Napo's face on it?
Well, let's not just single out musicians here, because I asked Carl, Jamie, about Edinburgh. Did you see anybody selling merch at Edinburgh?
I didn't see merch. No, I just saw a shit ton of people
missing out on a lot of opportunity. Comedians make a lot of money, money.
There'll be tons of comics up there with merch. I just didn't see any of the shows I went to, but I didn't actually get to see many shows. Actually, I've got friends doing hours up there, but I just couldn't get to everyone. It's difficult. You're walking around a hilly city, sweating, trying to find gigs, trying to see everyone, just dying, trying to get signal. But there will be tons of comics with merch up there, but I just didn't see any this time. I'll see some more when I return.
I can really tell because like I can be a merch whore if you got some good merch at your table, okay?
Hell yes.
And because I go to live shows and I dig them, but even for some of my favorite bands, I have passed up the merch table because it feels like they're being lazy with their art, especially the kinds of shirts.
I'm going to ask you about that because not that I'm looking to expand your business. God knows you have enough going on in your life, but most of us suck at merch, at the design of merch, or it's a secondary thought. So you're out there being a comedian, you're out there being a musician. The merch comes up. Oh yeah, we need something. Let's just take our band logo and put it on there. And so, and because William said that was next level advice, the stuff about make the tank tops and all that kind of stuff. Design advice.
Yes, I've got it. Listen up. Okay. Well, this is the thing. The heart of me am a designer as well. Like, so if I would almost create a band to sell merch. So basically it's already inside of me that if I were to have a gig where I was playing live shows, I would be on top of the merch. In fact, there is a YouTuber who decided she wanted to be a singer. She never took lessons, but she wants to be a rock star. So she's been playing shows. She's one of my favorite YouTubers, and she's been playing shows around LA. And what she's been doing with the most of her time, instead of taking singing lessons, is like splattering oversized T-shirts with paint, and so these are like one of a kind pieces that have her lyrics on them and her illustrations in paint. And so basically when you go to these shows and you buy a piece, you're also like kind of buying a piece of art as opposed to just one of those logos. Like you got to know, because you guys are not only comedians or musicians yourselves, you are fans. So I know that when you go to a show, you have a certain opinion when you look at that merch table. Like, even as a non-designer or a non-apparel enthusiast, like, you can tell if somebody has put a little bit of thought or put a little money into the design of their t-shirt.
Absolutely.
But yes.
Yeah.
Not even the design of the merch itself, but the way they present the table. Some people just bring in and ask the venue, can we borrow a table? And they don't even put a sheet over it or anything, and just put stuff all over the table. Like, that doesn't look appealing to anybody. I mean, some come in with this high level display stuff and all this, and they have several people working it who look friendly, and they're like, really people manning the table or womaning the table.
I just come up with an idea, a great idea. We're going to start a band, right? You were going to be like the Vivian Westwood. Dog is going to be like the Malcolm McLaren. I'm going to be the bass player. Carl's going to be the guitarist. We just need a rhythm guitarist and a drummer. And then, you guys, Dog and Jess, you can Vivian Westwood, Malcolm McLaren up, and me and Carl will take care of the rest.
I wish I knew the references. I'm too young. I'm sorry to say that I don't even know what Vivian Westwood does.
Sex Pistols, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the origins of. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna quit comedy and podcasting. We're just gonna go forward and just do music.
I'm not quitting podcasting.
Yeah, you all know.
I'm just hitting my stride here, or getting ready. Except this week has been a fucking disaster, man.
Really?
Well, everybody canceled.
No shows, right?
No shows, and not one guy actually took the time to cancel, which I respect, a day in advance. But everybody else was like not making it notice at all.
Bullshit. So they literally just don't show up.
Yeah.
We should enforce some kind of penalty.
That's what I told the publicist. If they want to reschedule, I'm gonna have to charge them minimum of $50 just to reschedule it, do all the administrative work in the back end. It's an hour of my time.
It sucks, man. Yeah, it's bad. It ain't good.
Yeah.
But they're probably the same people who they probably have a tendency to maybe cancel on gigs last minute anyway as well. Possibly. I might be wrong.
So Mike Doherty had Patreon members only merch at a live show. That's a weird thing. I've never seen that.
That is interesting. See, that is innovative. I like that. And I think
it's creative.
All right. Well, we have my guest has arrived, so it's time to kick you guys off.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, guys.
Just
all right.
And
let's have a meeting about next Sunday, though, sometime in the near future. I'll DM you or something.
Okay.
All right. Get out.
Almost press end broadcast. I'll take myself out.
Good luck with your game today, Carl. Go Brazil. Go Sao Paulo or wherever it is.
Sao Paulo.
Right.
Peace.
Get out. Our guest today is a comedian I think and I don't know this for a fact, but I think she's from Nebraska. I don't know.
We'll soon find out.
It's not. She doesn't have a lot of information about her online, so I don't have
I know.
a.
I even tried to creep, and we've got a Facebook account, and that's about it.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to mispronounce her first name. Nima Simone is with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Nima Simone to Coffee with the Dog. Did I get your name right? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Naima Simone. So you were close.
Okay.
We got it now. It's
Well,
stapled in there.
Well,
Naima.
welcome. Thank you for being here. Now, are you from Nebraska? Do I have that correct?
Yes, I am from Nebraska.
Now, why do we have so little information? Are you in the witness protection program? Or?
No, I'm not in the witness protection. I don't know. I thought I had a lot of information. I'm gonna have to go on there and add some more information on there about myself. I'm like thinking I'm putting too much information out.
No, there's never too much information when you're a public personality, I think. Would you agree with that, Jess?
Yeah, man, I whore out my information like it's free on the street.
How long have you been in stand-up comedy?
I've been doing it for about 5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
And was it something you always wanted to do? Was it something like, did you have it from a small child, or you got interested in it as an adult?
I got interested in it as an adult, but I've always been funny. My whole family actually is funny. We always talk about each other, make jokes, just sit around and just talk about each other's flaws. So it's always been something within me.
Right. So, are you still in Nebraska, or are you in Chicago now, or where are you?
I'm currently in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las
Ooh,
Vegas. Oh, well,
City of
that's a good
Lights.
place for comedy. Because I was wondering about the opportunities for comedy. You don't hear about comedy in Nebraska much. I mean,
No, you don't hear about too much of anything in Nebraska, except the corn huskers.
corn.
The
It's all for corn. So Vegas, that's a whole different thing. Now, tell me about as you got interested in because a lot of people are funny. But stand-up comedy is not the same as just being funny. So your first time doing it, was it an open mic night? Was it on a dare? Did you go there intentionally intending to be on stage that night? Tell us about that.
Actually, at the time, it was actually a dare. And it was supposed to be kind of like a challenge. A friend of mine had challenged me to do it. Because like again, I was always making jokes about him and just, making him laugh. And he was like, I challenge you to go do an open mic. And I did it and got a really great reaction from the crowd. And from there, I just kept going.
Did you have something prepared, or your first time up there, did you just think, I'm just going to be me and just, shoot from the hip, or did you prepare it 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever the open mic allowed?
I prepared for a couple of weeks, and went up there and said my jokes and got a really great response, and it's been history ever since.
What was your first subject matter?
Yeah.
For the first show ever.
Excuse me, I didn't quite get that question.
Sorry, what was the subject matter for your first couple jokes ever on that open mic night?
I talk about being an exotic dancer, and I wasn't good at it at all. So that's the joke. I talk about how I just was not good at it. And I also talk about the neighborhood in which I live in. I live in Las Vegas, so out here you will see any and everything happen. So on it's a true story. One particular day I was driving in my neighborhood and I had seen like some people that frequently be in the neighborhood, and they're kind of not so good people,
Mm-hmm.
but they were standing on the corner and they had costumes on. And I'm like, how can they afford costumes? Like, what is going on? Like, it was just weird. They were out there in costumes, and I talk about that story.
What kind of costumes? Like furries or?
They were like in like grown people in like Superman costumes, and it was just weird. I'm like, how did they afford costumes?
Well,
Like,
that's their new gig. They're trying to get people to take photographs with them now.
Yeah. Like I think because Jess is in LA, I'm in New York, and I'm not in New York City, but I think you would agree, Jess. If somebody in LA saw people in costumes, it would be no big deal. It'd be
No
like,
big deal.
no matter what neighborhood, it'd be like, okay,
This makes
somebody
sense.
wearing a costume. They're definitely in New York. Nobody would even notice. It'd be, you just
And,
walk past them like,
and that's the thing about living in Vegas and coming from Nebraska. It was like a real big shock to me because Nebraska is very conservative. So, like, if you see somebody on the corner with a costume on, you might be like, okay, I might need to call the police. But
right.
in Vegas, everybody just drives by like, oh, this is just a new day. Who cares? And no one cares. But it was just funny to me because I was like, any other day they out here, drunk and high and. And now today they have costumes on. Okay.
So did you go to Vegas for comedy, or you were already there when you first started comedy?
No, I actually didn't go to Vegas for comedy, but I found a home in Vegas for comedy. So, yes.
Why did you go to Vegas, if you don't mind being so?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Why did I come to Vegas? I got really sick of the cold, and I figured I really wanted to go to LA, but I just knew that LA was too expensive. So I was like, well, at least if I get close to LA, in Vegas, I'll be close enough to go to LA whenever I wanted to. So that was ultimately
not really that close. We were having that discussion yesterday. It's like a 6-hour drive, right, or something like that.
The day trip.
Depending on who's driving and what time you drive, it could be a little bit longer.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say a little bit shorter because I drove the fastest. I drove from San Diego, California to Long Island, New York in 39 hours in 1980, straight through. Kind of Smokey and the Bandit kind of thing. I don't know. That's an old reference for you, but a movie that Burt Reynolds drove a Trans Am trying to avoid the cops. This was a brand new Trans Am, and basically my idea was I'm going to drive 120 miles an hour the entire way, and every time I got to a state line, the mentality was if a cop goes to pull me over, I'm just going to race him to the next state line. I could beat him to the next state line till it's out of his jurisdiction.
Oh my God.
And I made it in 39 and a half hours. But we were talking because our friends are having a party out in the desert in November, and some Dean, who has been a co-host here, he was interested in going. I said, that's a young man's game, driving across country all the way out there. I mean, I did it when I was young, but at this point, it would be brutal. But I don't know how I got sidetracked on that. Oh, because you're talking about Vegas, and depending on who's driving, that's what got me talking about that. So now you prepared for your first open mic, did you take any study? Did you study any comedy classes or any how did you go about preparing your first thing if you had no experience? Did you have any study? Or
I just basically just did what I always did, just be myself and just went up there with the confidence. And
now that's interesting because you say you weren't good. I detected a little bit of lack of self-confidence in the exotic dancer part, but with the comedic part, you had confidence. That's a odd
yeah, I was.
mix.
And people have said that like this should be easy peasy for you if you were a whole dancer. And I'm like, yeah, it should be easy peasy. which it technically is, but technically not, because you don't say too much when you're a dancer.
Right.
With a comedian, you have to really connect with the people that you are telling jokes to.
I think you do it as now. Listen, I'm gonna be, and I don't mean to sound like insincerely innocent here. I don't really know about exotic dancing, but I think because
Oh, you have
you
to
have to
connect there
connect on
too.
some level, but it's not the same kind of connection.
Right, exactly. It's a little bit more physical with the dancing and a little bit more um mental with the comedy.
Right.
You found your tools to communicate, basically.
Right.
Right. So now, how often are you working now, and what are the nature of the kind of, because Las Vegas is a different kind of town than most people are used to. You have lounges, you have, I don't know, I don't even know if there's. I'm sure in some parts of town there are traditional comedy clubs, but most of the work is going on in hotels. Yes.
It's a lot of work in hotels. We have not a lot of just like comedy clubs, but a lot of people though private shows. It's a little bit with Las Vegas. It's a little bit of everything here. You can always find your niche in Las Vegas because we have so many variety of things that you can do here. So I believe Las Vegas has it all. It's the private sector, it's the casinos, it's I've even did shows at, just traditional bars. So it's a little bit of everything here.
Bar work for, is it mostly locals in bars or is it tourism?
Um well, the bar I did it at was not technically in Las Vegas. It was in Henderson, Nevada. So that was more geared towards the locals. So it kind of just depends. I've done open mics in a casino, and it mainly locals. It depends on where you're at. Like if you're on the Strip or Fremont, then you're going to get the tourism. If you're just like outside of those areas, you'll get the locals.
Right. Um, so it is, what's the competition like out there? I'm thinking like, because Justin knows from LA, everybody is in show business in LA. I'm thinking most people, or Las Vegas is full of people who went there just specifically to be in show business, whether it's music, whether it's cabaret shows, whether it's comedians, or so high level of competition or too much competition.
It's it's a lot of competition. Um it now for the women, um it's kind of it's kind of hit or miss. It may be a time where you go out and it's lots of women. It's nothing like LA, because I've done a show or two there. I've done a couple of shows in LA, and it's in LA it's like a lot of competition, but up here it's kind of give or take depending on where you are at, as far as the competition. Certain clubs, you might go in there and it's, 20 comedians trying to get on stage. And then other venues, you might go and it's only 8 comedians there. So it kind of just depends on the venue.
Wow. Last Friday, I had Erica Switzer on, who is she's from Chicago. She's working in Chicago. I don't know if that's where she's originally from, but she started. No, she's a black lady, and she started doing comedy in Taiwan, China.
Wow.
And taught English in Paris. So a lot of her stuff is about that. But a great interview, and she was talking about. First of all, there were two issues here that why I brought up that she's a black lady. We were talking about the difference between performing, because she does a lot of what she calls black clubs, where it's predominantly all black comedians and the audience is all black, as opposed to working in mainstream rooms where you have a mix of racial. And she said the audiences in black rooms are more demanding. You have to be good, faster in a black room, or they'll kill you, and you're going to need to change your act if you're not getting support right away. You'll notice that the room isn't with you. Do you share that opinion?
She's absolutely right. A lot of just being a black woman, I'm just gonna keep it real that when you're in a black audience, they are more subjected to wanting you to do your best. So if you come in there half stepping, they will let you know for sure.
Right.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And what about the challenges with being a woman in comedy? As much opportunity for men, or is it is it harder?
Personally, I haven't had any direct I would say I wouldn't I haven't had any direct situation where I felt like because I was a woman I wasn't getting treated fairly, but I have seen other comedian women that have been mistreated as a woman comic. So
What
I
about the
believe
Me
it.
Too issue, like the male toxic masculinity of guy, especially if they hit, you know what, a young man hears you used to be an exotic dancer, they're going to assume things and treat you with less respect, or wanting a little something that they really are not supposed to want, just because of that. And a lot of women are facing, you want stage time. You gotta put out a little. Any of that?
Um, I'm gonna just be honest. I've been told that because I can be a little bit reserved. Maybe just from being Nebraska, I can be reserved and conservative. And I've been told a couple of times, you just need to, flirt a little bit, just be a little bit nicer. So, and then you can get on, the shows and things of that nature. But my
Yeah,
philosophy
that's a
is if I'm not,
subtle Me Too. That's a subtle like abuse where, yeah, they again, that not necessarily coming out and saying you're gonna have to put out, but be a little flirty, and you know what?
yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
you
So
get it. You get it. You see it. But my philosophy has always been if I'm not funny enough to just get on the stage, grace your stage, then I'll pass.
yeah. Well, it's a good attitude, I guess. Hopefully, things will change in that. While we're on the subject of women's rights, this is a good time for me to take 1 minute to talk about my guest on Wednesday night on my evening program, a guy named Gary Paul Cochran, has written 2 books, Lipstick Warriors, about the women in Afghanistan
Oh,
and the treatment they're getting from men. And this is like, sort of a commercial, or sort of a prompt to my audience. He's written these 2 books. The goal here is to raise awareness for how women in Afghanistan had taken 20 years step backwards because they started to get some respect and treatment, and on a level of where American women are now. It's not perfect for American women by any means, but compared to what the Taliban put women through over there. So he's trying to raise awareness with these books, and he's got free downloads. GaryPaulCochran.com. 2 books you can download absolutely free. There is a um, somebody who's working with him who has still got some contacts over there in Afghanistan, and it's basically looking to let the women there who are being completely mistreated and put back in the Stone Age, to let them know that they're not forgotten, because the news cycle was concentrating heavily on them for about a week, and it feels like they've been forgotten. So Gary Paul Cochran, go there and download both his novels absolutely free, Kindle versions of his novels absolutely free. It will be doing a good cause to help people out, so I wanted to put that out
good
there.
education. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, back to the comedy stuff now. What are your goals? Do you have is stand-up comedy your end goal, or is there something bigger, like stage, theater, any of that kind of stuff beyond film, any of that beyond stand-up?
I really love to travel, so I honestly would love to be a traveling comedian. I want to just be able to travel on a consistent basis, like maybe being, this part of the country tomorrow and then the next part the next day. I just really, that's one of my main goals. I wouldn't mind possibly getting on some type of special, like a Netflix special. Um, I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of acting. Not per se acting, but skits. I wouldn't mind doing something like that. But yeah, just a lot of traveling. And again, like the skits and maybe even a play. I wouldn't mind doing a play.
You've got a lot of things on the roster. I mean, since how did you travel from Nebraska to Nevada? Did you do a little road trip?
Yes, I did a road trip, unfortunately, and I've been traumatized ever since. But yes, I did a road trip.
Why? What
From
happened?
Nebraska. I had drove primarily. I've done a lot of traveling, but I never drove from the Midwest to like the West Coast. I've always drove like from Nebraska to Florida, Atlanta. So it's kind of flat. But
Sure.
California and Colorado, Utah, it's a lot of mountains, a lot of hills, a lot of curves. And that was the first time doing that. And the mountains just really, really just do something to me, just driving down a mountain. And the California people, they do it like they just walking. And they like, I mean, when they go down the mountains, I'll be like, aren't they scared? And they like, no, we're just going down the hill. So yes, I drove from Nebraska to Vegas.
Were you in the dark desert during the nighttime?
Yes, the nighttime I was driving through the mountains through the night. It was traumatizing.
When we did that on the road trip across the country, my friend who was driving, because I don't know how to drive a car, she was actually hallucinating because it was so dark. I mean, we had the stars above us, but we had desert. It was like driving in a void. So she was seeing things, run across the road, and she had to stop and literally switch drivers with our other car. It was interesting.
I actually wrote a song about that, the monsters in Art on the Road. Yeah, because I'm doing a lot of that when I was a young man, especially traveling for music and stuff. You go on a long trip, and late at night when it gets really dark, you will see monsters running across the road.
Whoa.
Right.
But the hill stuff, yeah, I'm from. It's pretty flat on Long Island, even though I'm on the North Shore now and there are hills up here. But I remember the first time driving in Missouri late at night and driving down this really steep hill, and it was like, wow, this is really uncomfortable for me. How do people, driving downhill? It's almost like it's such a steep incline that it feels like this is scary. This is a roller coaster. It's not comfortable at all. So. Your family back in Nebraska, do they know about your stand-up career, and are they supportive of it?
Oh yeah, my sister is one of my biggest fans. She always encourages me to keep going, and definitely got a lot of support from my sister. Not too much of I have a lot of nieces and nephews. Not too much from them because they're younger and they haven't experienced. I think comedy, you have to, certain comedy, you have to have experienced a couple of things in your life to kind of get it. And they not too much, but my sisters and my brother and my friends and stuff like that back home definitely supported me.
Yeah.
Is it a big sister, little sister?
It's my big sister.
That's nice. Is she funny too, or like are those genes the same?
I get a lot of my material from her. Super funny. She used to pick on me all the time, and she's the oldest of 5. So she pick on all of us all the time. So I get a lot of my comedy actually from my older sister and my older brother.
Sis in charge. Cool.
William Conway says that Colorado at night you will most likely see a bear. You're thinking real monsters. I'm talking about hallucination monsters like Godzilla, size 100-foot, and Marshmallow Men and things like that.
I honestly wish I would have spent more time in there, Matt. If you ever go to another one of those desert parties out near me, just swing by and pick me up. I want to go to one.
A deal. That's a deal. Now the people that go out there are absolutely. I think you were on the program when we talked about the first one where Andy Andy pissed in a glass and Inman had to drink it to be king of the party. Those people are crazy.
Oh, look, the kind of party I want to go to. All right.
Yeah, no.
Naima, do you have like a lot of pins on the map then? Since you've been you said you went to Florida. You've obviously done the road trip over here to Nevada. So, do you have any favorites on the map? Any places that are just stick in your mind that you just hold in your heart because you like to travel so much?
I love Chicago. I stayed in Chicago for a little bit. Evanston, Illinois, which is a suburb, northern California. Not California, excuse me, Chicago.
Yeah.
So I love Chicago. I love California. I stayed in Florida. So I mean, it's the only place, honestly, that I moved to that I really, really was just not happy there was Kentucky. I lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it just was super, 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 super like boring. There was nothing there. I mean, it was just not my style.
I had a guy on from Kentucky earlier. Was it this week? I'm not even sure. I mean, it all runs together. But he was talking about just how conservative the state is. But also the fact that there are a bunch of, according to him, now I'm not, this is not coming from me, so Kentucky, please hold up on your hate mail, but they're all drunk and stoners, but but weed is not legal there, but everybody in the state smokes weed. Like, hypocritical kind of stuff.
I'm so curious if like the people of those kinds of places, Kentucky, like, because I feel that it must be more sad to be conservative. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I feel because you're talking about like being a stoner, I feel is attached to the liberal mindset,
You would think, but not necessarily.
Maybe not. But yeah. I just wonder, like, if people that live in these states that, have just put that abortion stamp all over the place, like all the other restrictions that I feel like the conservative mindset includes, like, are they forced to be there or do they really love being there? Because it sounds like it's a pretty shit place.
Yeah. Well, what I asked him about, because I was really curious about, because do they consider themselves a southern state or northern state? Because in the Civil War, they fought on the side of the North.
Oh.
But when you think of Kentucky, you think of redneck kind of southern state. They consider themselves a southern state now, which is part of their whole conservatism and all that stuff. But it's odd how they kind of evolved backwards in their thinking from being liberal in 1865 to being very conservative in 2022.
I do have to say, if there's one issue that's not as divisive as the rest, where like over 90% of people are on board, it's pretty much weed legalization. So I can see that that's an all for one kind of thing in America right now.
And
90%?
Is it? That's what maybe my friends are like convincing me that it's more than that.
One thing about Nebraska too, it's conservative, but it sometimes splits. Like when we have the voting, it'll split down the middle. So it does have some liberal ideas and it does have some conservative ideas.
Wow.
So Nebraska will split in half as far as
Nebraska is one of those states that almost is never in the news. That's a good thing, I think. I think if you're in the news too much, that means a lot of bad stuff is going on.
Yeah. It's a really good
That's
place.
True.
it's a really good place to raise a family for sure.
Just got me thinking about this percentages because
It's
I
over
live in
68%. I was being a little bit generous.
okay because I
It's
live
just
in a
my
state.
world that's like over 90%.
It's recreational legal here, but we still don't have stores where you can buy recreational. But there's still a strong contingent in New York who would still prefer it to be illegal. I mean, we hear about it. I hear about it all the time. If people still think of it as a gateway drug, that all that kind of stuff. So,
Man,
anyway.
I've been doing weed for so many years, and like I feel like people think that I'm this huge druggie, and I don't even drink alcohol. It's its own thing. Like, guys, I mean, I would assume that different people take in their intoxications differently, and their addictions, but I don't know if it's everything that your mom told you it was.
I mean, I am a active weed smoker. Weed to me, it actually is a upper for me. Like if I smoke some weed, I'm about to start cleaning. I'm about to start thinking, being
That
creative.
sativa will get you.
Yeah, it's medicine to me.
I've said that too.
It's medicine. It's like, and it actually comes from a flower. So, I mean, a plant.
Now, I agree with you. It's always been for me. See, I come from an era, the Stone Age, where the Stone
Stoner
Age, when we
Age.
got stoned age, there was no sativa or indica, and it was basically brown weed, green weed, Hawaiian, Jamaican, Colombian, homegrown. That was it. I mean, that's what we had, Thai stick. But so there were no this label. Now we've come to this point where sativa is an upper and it's going to make you creative, and indica is going to make you mellow and sleep on the couch. To me, weed was always just something I would do to get into the creative zone and really feel up and feel energized. To I want to do something creative now. Didn't matter if it was sativa, indica. We didn't even know about that. Now they have that, and I go back and forth with choosing indica, and like the stuff they say is supposed to mellow me out actually has the opposite effect. It makes
That
me creative.
happens.
Yeah, it does. That does happen sometimes.
So I'm thinking it's all bullshit. It's all just marketing. It's all we need, put more terms on stuff. Call it Kush, call it bubblegum, call it Gorilla Glue, call it whatever you want. It's all weed at the end of the day.
Naima, do you either light up or take a shot or anything like that before you go on stage?
It just depends. I try to go on stage. I can't smoke weed and go on stage. I will forget. I will forget every line. I'll be stuck up there like, okay. I've done it before at an open mic. Never at a show, but at an open mic. And I just literally went up there and was like, I can't do this, and walk off. Luckily, it was a friend of mine that hosts the show, and he was like, okay, she can't do this today. But other than that, I might take a shot. I'm a gin.
Me too. If I ever drink, I'm a gin girl. Go.
Yeah, gin make my stepmom. She used to always say, "Gin make you sin." So I will.
I never heard that before.
I never heard that either.
Yeah, gin will make you sin. But I will take a shot of Bombay. That's my favorite gin. I'll take a shot of that, and that'll get me pretty in a mellow, in a in between mood.
I'm a Tanqueray hoe.
Yeah,
I like
me too.
Tanqueray. I like Tanqueray.
It's very clean taste.
My son told me, because he caught me ordering a gin and tonic once. He said, "Gin and tonic is an old woman's drink." Thank you, son. You mentioned wanting to be like the traveling part of it. Now, to me, there's romanticism in the road comic. Doing one night stands in different towns and getting to see the different cultures in America and all that kind of stuff. But I'm always curious about how that gets started. Because in musicianship, basically the idea was you get a booking agent, they just book you in places, you rent a van, you're going with people, you're living in a van, eating fish out of a can to survive and all that kind of stuff. It's a tough thing, but how you actually get started in that? Do you have any insights into how you actually get started in that life and set up a tour for yourself?
It's kind of like the musicians, like basically like you said, with me not having, not being a famous comedian, a lot, if I do want to just like say, okay, I just want to, quit my day job and just go 100% on the road, you basically can do that way. Just call different clubs in different cities and see if you can be an opening act, or if you can get some time on the show, and just like you said, get a van and just hit it.
Yeah. Do you have now? Do you have a TikTok page or YouTube channel or any of that kind of stuff going on?
I have a TikTok page. I have YouTube. I have Instagram.
I was trying to find you on YouTube.
Yeah, you got to send me links because I was searching for this stuff so we could promote your stuff today, and couldn't find it.
Yes. My YouTube is called Where is Naima? My Instagram is Naima Simone, the comedian. That's my Instagram, and my Facebook is Naima Simone, the comedian.
Right. I would just and I hate to give advice, but I think branding, being consistent with it, and I'm guilty of the same thing you are, of not having the same hashtag, same label for all my social media stuff. You gotta.
This is just Paul. It's everywhere. It's the only name I use.
Yeah. That's a good example of this is just Paul. She's consistent across all her channels of promotion. It's that. And I think that's important. I fall down on that too. So that would be my advice. Follow her lead on that. As far as branding goes, the Facebook page looks outstanding. I mean, as far as designing and stuff, do you have somebody working with you with that kind of stuff? Because this is a place where a lot of comedians I talk to, especially people who are on that level where just still trying to break through to public consciousness, don't work with anybody as far as branding, and are not natural marketing people or design people. Do you have somebody working with you with that, or are you doing it all yourself?
I do. I do it all myself.
Wow.
And I mean, I get advice. I am a big time reader. So if it's something that I don't know or don't understand or can't get the advice, I will go out there and research and search it until my brain is like, okay, give it me a break. And then I'll get back on it and research it more. So I always look for the answer if I can't find it.
Wow. Do you have any upcoming shows that you want to let our audience know about today? We do have quite a big numbers in Las Vegas, Nevada, actually. On the audio side, I believe our average in the state of Nevada is 10,000 downloads a week. So that's probably 10,000 users, I would think, in the state of Nevada. So pretty big audience there.
I have one of my biggest shows that I've done. So if they follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, I'll have an update here probably in a week or so. They haven't made the final date. It's going to be the end of August, the beginning of September. It's one of my biggest shows. I actually get to be very creative on this show. The person that produces it allowed me to bring in some of my ideas. So it's going to be my biggest show I've ever done.
Well, do me a favor when we're done today, if you can DM me all your links, so or where I can find you. Make it a little easy for me. I'll put the links in the description for people so that they don't have to go searching you out. We'll make it easy for them to find you and follow you. And I will just say this: if anything, even if you're not back on the program, but you have something big like that, and you get the information, just send it to me, and I'll share it with the audiences as best I can and help promote things you're doing. So,
all right, thank you. I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you being here, and I wish you the best of luck with all the stuff. It's been great to get to know you, and again, we're going to encourage people to follow up with you if you could, if you don't mind.
Oh, no problem. All the, I like you said, I'm in the process of building a brand, and so I'm always, happy and grateful for whoever follows me and comes along with me on this journey.
Great, appreciate you being here. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day. Bye for now. Bye. We have to say goodbye to governors, right? Well, not right now. We got 5 minutes. I'll let them
We'll
hang for
keep
another
Govs
5 minutes.
around for another 5.
Yeah. Seemed a little reserved. I think that's how I would classify her personality, which
She's from Nebraska.
Yeah. And the thing is, I find a lot of comedians when they're not performing can be that way, a little shy, a little. I don't know. Reserved is the best word, and you don't think of it because people think, "Oh, comedians must be on all the time." And I think that's a big misconception. I think they're probably a lot more like her than the opposite. So
I mean, it's the same with actors. When somebody comes from a background of like being a host or being a stage performer or just being an ostentatious kind of like attention seeker. I
right.
don't know if there's any fingers pointing at me, but or just somebody who just loves the craft for the art, but was a secret introvert their whole life. Like, I think all those different personalities still apply to the entertainment industry. I can never predict who I'm going to run into at a party and what I can almost predict. They almost always are in show business, but what they're going to be like, that's a whole different story.
I'm going to turn the tables on you a little bit here because you asked her about whether she ever like smokes before she goes on stage. In acting, in film, is that a thing or not?
Oh my God. Like it would be the same thing where I would be very afraid that I would forget all my lines. Like that would be the only wrong thing. Though I have to say, I have this secret little, like I've got all these ideas that like are always in the back of my mind, but I was like, wouldn't it be a fun experiment to do an entire movie stoned and that be like kind of the gimmick of the movie? I mean, I know that there have been stoner movies. I'm sure Cheech and Chong probably were stoned their entire movie anyways, but so maybe that's already kind of been done. But maybe like take more of a that was a very like high comedy, like very obvious, like this is what they're going for kind of thing. But what if there was a character that literally was just living in the real world, but like the entire execution of the movie just stoned all day? Have you ever seen Super High Me?
No.
So Super Size Me, it was the documentary that the documentarian ate fast food for I think an entire month, McDonald's. And so Super High Me, a different comedian, kind of did a spin on that where he was high all month, like, and just kind of was reporting back how it felt. Obviously, everything outside of moderation, above moderation, can get really tiresome. And by the end of it, he was just like, I don't care for this anymore. But I think if I was filming something like that, it would be a slog after a while, and I would just be, can I nap now? Are we done here? But
now your Monday night show starts at 9 my time, right? 9 Eastern.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'll be leading into you with it because I don't want to compete with you, but I wanted to make sure that 8 p.m. on Monday, James Balasamo, he's a local filmmaker to me. He's from here, but he just put together a film. I know because you mentioned Tommy Chong, which got me thinking about it. Tommy's in that movie. I don't know how he got Tommy to be in the movie.
Tommy's probably not doing anything.
No, I was thinking I'm going to get him on the thing that for Christine that Sunday as part of the show.
Was he on the 40-hour one?
He was scheduled for it, but I screwed up the timing on it, but we'll get it right this time. But he's been on my show half a dozen times at least, and he's a friend. I mean, because we share a lot of common interests beyond the weed stuff. But I think yes, the answer to your question is yes. They were very stoned doing most
I've
of the
got to
movie.
check out those episodes. I would love to know who he is as, just more of a person outside
I
of that
find him
character.
extremely deep, extremely
I bet.
wise. That you would not think, oh, stone. Most people.
Oh no, that sounds about right to me. Somebody who spent their whole life ethereal, like gazing and